So hello. Welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe and also support my small business at latricelimited.com. So today we're actually going to be talking about possibly, hopefully, sometime in the near future, ridding America of its gun problems. And in this video in particular, talking about how guns are a huge reason as to why suicides are happening at a higher rate. Okay, so I have a couple articles here and whatnot. I'm going to read them, give my thoughts and opinions as we go. So overall, suicides are made easier with guns. Now you may say, oh, that's not true, Alex. Suicides and guns, some people use them, but not that many people. And if they wanted to do, the ultimate thing, you know what I mean? If they wanted to ultimately end their life, they would go with another measure, such as, getting a razor blade, a knife, whatever the case may be, drugs, pills, whatnot. So I have an article here, and of course, everything is linked down below. And I want you guys to just open your minds about this and really think about this in a different way than what you have probably ordinarily have seen or possibly thought about. Okay, so it says, there is good reason why gun restrictions would prevent suicide. Suicide is often an impulsive choice, one often not repeated after a first attempt. Guns are specifically designed for killing, which makes suicide attempts with guns likelier to succeed than, for example, attempts with the razor or pills. Limiting access to guns makes each attempt much likely to fail. Less guns, you don't have a gun to do the act that you're trying to do, the act does not happen. Okay, thus making it more likely that people will survive and not attempt to harm themselves once again. There are statistics, and as we know, white males are more likely to kill themselves with the gun. Okay, and it talks about other demographics. I actually have a link down below if you guys want to check it out, and it's from this really cool website. And I'll actually have like a little stat up here as well, and it's from this really nice website and whatnot, and it actually just gives you a whole bunch of graphs and a whole bunch of like information that goes and correlates with it, and you can see like different stats, in terms of like where someone may live, in terms of what the race is, different ages of people and whatnot. A lot of it is very interesting. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, I would definitely go and check it out. So I do have a chart up here. Okay, and it says firearms are used in half of all suicide deaths. Okay, so obviously we know that if someone is to commit suicide, for example, the gun is the first option. All right. And I was also reading that when you do have like pills, for example, or, for overdoses, or if you do have like a knife, a razor blade, whatever the case may be that you would use, those do not always, quote unquote, finish the job. Okay. So then that's what they mean by if it fails, 9 times out of 10, these people are not going to try to do it again. If you go on the ledge and you're like, I'm gonna try to, I can't do it. That is considered a failure in that part. Thus, from what these people are saying, okay, these aren't just some random Joe Schmoes, all right? So from what these people are saying is that the chances of the person committing the act again is less likely. What I would say and insert into that is this. You failed the first time, which is a good failure, okay? I'm happy that you did not proceed with it. I'm happy that it was not successful, In that time, you could reflect, hopefully get some help if you did not already get help prior. And if you got help prior, maybe it wasn't good help, get someone better, and then that would allow for all of those kind of things for you to do. Maybe you could use the suicide prevention line. All right. Maybe you could go to therapy. I know they have these online therapists nowadays where you could like talk to a doctor, talk to a licensed therapist, and you could just express your concern. You could express your problems, everything that you're feeling. You could go and tell them, this is how I feel. I'm at the end of the road, and you will be able to get that kind of information out. And hopefully this time around, you can get the needed help so that you won't pursue that option again. All right. So it's also just some other statistics about it. I have a chart up here talking about, and this is from 2010 through 2019. This is obviously in the US, since we are the ones with the huge problem. It's talking about suicide related deaths, homicide related deaths, and then other. Okay. And they actually just show you which ones make up the most. You see so often on the news where it's constantly like, okay, blah, blah shot this person, Ray shot this person, Pookie shot this person, Steve shot this person shot this person's dead, mass shooting, this. But what people fail to put into what people fail to put into the conversation is suicides. What does that look like? What are the numbers? Apparently it's higher than the homicides that they have. Okay. Also, we know that if you were a veteran, if you served, you are likely to, one, obviously have PTSD. That's one of the main things that people who came back from service would, acquire. And they're likely to commit suicide. Having accessibility to a gun, you could just go up to really any gun store or whatever it may be. And you're like, hey, Bass Pro Shops, for example. Hey, I want to go there and I want a gun. Okay, sure. Here's a gun. And then you walk out and then you do what you do. Or as you have some other people, they do commit mass shootings, as we have seen with these recent ones. When they turned 18, got their gun, boom. Turned 18, parent gave them their gun, boom. Okay. But right now we're going to be talking about just suicides. And it's just talking about because no one really wants to talk about that. You have a gun, you're more likely to injure somebody else. If you have your kid around, little Tommy running around, he could kill himself with the gun, because you have a lot of people who, why? I don't know. But you have a lot of people who just simply don't lock their guns up, don't put them into safes, don't put them up anywhere. They're just accessible for anybody. And that is a huge problem. Okay. I also have a little graphic up here as well, and it shows who are the ones by suicide, by gender, who are the ones more likely to do it. And it's always males are the ones more likely to do it. They did say that with females, if they were to do it, they would do like least lethal avenues, I guess you can say, which would be like an overdose or something like that. Men, especially white men, are more prone to doing the more lethal ones, which is like a gunshot to the mouth. Okay. Meanwhile, the women, they may do a razor, they may, do a pill, or pills in that instance. It's just interesting when you really think about it in terms of just like all these other kind of demographics that go with it. And the fact that people talk about guns and they're like, oh, but it's my right. But it's like, you do realize, and it's always, I'm not gonna say it's always, but it's a lot of white males that say that, but they are also in that demographic of people, as I told you, that are more likely to harm themselves. So you would think that in some way they would just pull back and be like, yo, and you would think that everyone in some way, shape, or form will also pull back and be like, okay, maybe this is not just a problem to everybody else, but it is a problem to, the individual that is holding the gun. Because at the end of the day, when someone decides to take their life, they think, okay, the whole world is after me. Everything I have, it means nothing. I'ma just go and end it all. But at the end of the day, when you really think about it, you're not just affecting yourself. You're not just taking yourself out. You're also affecting and hurting other people that care about you. Other people that maybe they missed that smile of yours. Maybe they haven't seen you for a while. And they're like, I'm thinking about this person. And then They're like, oh wow, they took the life. Well, why didn't they talk to me? Why didn't I reach out? Then you have a whole bunch of other guilt that does end up happening, and this is why I say it's really important. And I made a video about it was a black cheerleader at a university, and she ended up taking her life as well. But and I look at all of this, and it's just like, if only you had someone there to speak to you, if only you had someone there to get you through that rough patch. In that video, and I'm not going to talk about it too much here or anything like that, but I talk about my experience and what I had with this whole topic. And for me, using the suicide 24-hour prevention line, stuff like that helped. Writing down your feelings, learning to truly love yourself, with all the situations that happen. Hey, if you need to talk to somebody face to face, if you need to talk to somebody via, just, like a betterhelp.com kind of thing, if you need to do something like that, that is always very much so needed. Okay. And, and the whole thing with this, it just makes it so much easier to end yourself when you do have a gun. As they said, if you have the other methods, people, if it fails, they're like, okay, I ain't doing this no more. The gun, 9 times out of 10, will end you. Okay. So probably even a little bit more than that. You don't have a second chance to be like, man, you know what I was mad about, or what I was upset about, or what I was angry about, what I was in my feelings about really wasn't that bad. You don't have a chance to say that anymore because you're not alive anymore. So it's just looking at this and looking at how big of an issue this truly is, and why we really should be caring about this a little bit more. This isn't just, okay, let's say you got it legally, you don't have any history of any problems or anything like that, and you're like, oh, well, yeah, that person's perfectly fine, they don't have any problems, they're perfectly fine, everything's good with them, but then they end up taking their life. If they just would not have had that gun, maybe they would have been like, you know what, I don't want to do that, because this is so quick. You know what, let me try to talk to somebody, let me get on a suicide prevention line, let me, whatever. Now they have more options. But by also having this stuff so readily available, yeah, it takes those options away. But those are my thoughts, those are my opinions on this. Let me know, did you guys know how high the suicide rate was with guns? Did you think that homicides were higher? Because that's what I initially thought, was that, people were just, because this is all we see on the news. You don't hear too much about the suicides, about the veterans who, kill themselves, about just teens who kill themselves. You don't really see too much, unless it's just like a bizarre thing, like a 5-year-old doing it, So let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. And until then.